Kindness is a beautiful thing. It's a strength, a force that has the power to uplift, to heal, to build real connections. But there's one important thing you need to understand. Not everyone sees kindness the way you do. Not everyone values it. And when you come across a narcissist, the very thing that makes you a good person, the very thing that makes you compassionate and understanding is the same thing they will use to take advantage of you. Narcissists don't see kindness as something to appreciate. They see it as an opportunity. They see it as weakness. The more patient you are with them, the more they will test your limits. The more you try to understand, the more they will twist your words, manipulate your emotions, and make you feel like you are the problem. And the moment you start standing up for yourself, that's when they flip the script. That's when they act like you're being unfair, like you're overreacting, like you're suddenly the one who's hurting them. They know exactly what they're doing. They push just enough to see how much you'll tolerate. They take just enough to see how much you'll give. And if you don't stop it early, if you keep giving them the benefit of the doubt, they will keep taking and taking it till there's nothing left of you. This is what so many people don't realize. You think that by being nice, by being patient, by showing them that you care, you'll somehow make them see the error of their ways. That maybe if you just love them enough, if you just communicate better, if you just give them a little more time, they'll change. But let me tell you something, they won't. Because a narcissist doesn't see kindness as something to return. They see it as something to use. And this is where people get trapped. You keep giving because you believe in the goodness of people. You think if I was struggling, I would want someone to be patient with me. If I made a mistake, I would want someone to help me learn from it. If I was acting out, I would want someone to see my pain and not judge me for it. But the problem is you're applying that mindset to someone who doesn't think the way you do. Someone who doesn't care about your kindness except for how they can twist it to their advantage. Narcissists will guilt you into giving more. They'll make you feel bad for setting boundaries. They'll act like you're the selfish one when all you're trying to do is protect yourself. And the worst part, they make you question your own reality. They make you doubt yourself. They gaslight you into thinking that maybe you are too harsh. Maybe you are expecting too much. Maybe you are the problem. And the second you start thinking like that, they've won, but you have to see through it. You have to recognize what's happening. Because the longer you allow it, the more damage it does. You start losing yourself. You start walking on eggshells, trying not to upset them. You start shrinking, making yourself smaller just to keep the peace. And that's not love. That's not kindness. That's self-sacrifice for someone who wouldn't do the same for you. So if you think being nice to a narcissist will make them respect you, think again. If you think being patient will make them appreciate you, it won't. If you think giving them more chances will finally make them realize how much you care, you're only setting yourself up for more pain. Because narcissists don't learn through kindness. They learn through consequences. The only way to deal with a narcissist is to stop feeding them. Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Stop justifying their actions. Stop excusing their behavior because of their past, their trauma, their stress, their bad day. None of that is an excuse for the way they treat you. The moment you stop rewarding them with kindness, the moment you stop giving them unlimited access to your heart, your time, your energy, that's the moment you take your power back. Being kind is a gift, but not everyone deserves access to that gift. Save it for the people who appreciate it. Save it for the people who see you, who respect you, who value you for who you are. And as for the narcissists, stop being nice to them, because they will never respect you until you respect yourself. You can spend your entire life trying to fix a narcissist, trying to love them enough, trying to be patient enough, trying to say the right words in the right way at the right time so they finally understand, but it won't work. Not because you're not good enough, not because you're not trying hard enough, but because they don't want to change. And you cannot fix someone who doesn't see anything wrong with what they're doing. This is one of the hardest things for people to accept. Because deep down, you want to believe that if you just give them more love, more understanding, more chances, they'll wake up one day and finally get it. They'll realize how much they've hurt you. They'll apologize, not because they're forced to, but because they actually mean it. They'll see your worth, treat you the way you deserve, and everything will finally be okay. But that day never comes, because a narcissist doesn't think the way you do. They don't love the way you do. They don't care the way you do. You see, a narcissist doesn't see relationships as a place to give. They see them as a place to take. They don't build connections, they build control. And every time you try to fix them, every time you pour more love into them, hoping they'll finally change, all you're doing is giving them more power over you. Because now they know they can keep taking without consequences. They know you'll stay no matter how many times they hurt you. They know that no matter what they do, you'll always believe in the potential of who they could be rather than seeing them for who they actually are. And that's where people get trapped. They fall in love with potential. They hold on to the good moments, the times when the narcissist was charming, when they were sweet, when they made you feel special. But here's the truth: the good moments don't erase the damage. The kind words don't undo the manipulation. The apologies don't mean anything when the behavior never changes. A narcissist will give you just enough to keep you hooked, just enough to make you think that maybe, just maybe, they're finally changing. But they're not. They're just keeping you exactly where they want you. You have to understand that a narcissist is not looking for a relationship where both people grow. They don't want equality. They don't want real love. They want control. They want attention. They want to feel powerful. And if you keep believing that your love can fix them, you will spend your entire life bending over backward for someone who will never meet you halfway. Think about all the times you've forgiven them, all the times you've explained yourself, thinking if I just tell them how much this hurts me, they'll stop. And what happens? They act like they understand for a while. Maybe they change just enough to give you hope. But then the cycle starts all over again. Because it was never about them not understanding, it was about them not caring enough to change. And this is where you have to make a choice. You can keep trying to fix them, keep hoping they'll wake up one day and finally see what they've been doing to you. Or you can accept the truth. They are who they are, and nothing you do will ever change them. Not because you're not enough, but because they don't want to change. The only person you can fix is yourself. The only heart you can heal is your own. And the second you stop trying to fix them, the second you stop waiting for them to become the person you always hoped they would be, that's the second you set yourself free. Because the truth is, real love doesn't need to be fixed. Real love doesn't make you question your worth. Real love doesn't require you to sacrifice yourself just to keep someone else happy. So stop trying to fix them. Stop waiting for them to change. Stop believing that if you just give a little more, they'll finally be different. Let them be who they are. And you focus on healing, on growing, on becoming the person who no longer tolerates that kind of treatment. Because the moment you do that, you step into your power. And that's when everything starts to change. Narcissists don't respect boundaries. They don't care about your limits. They don't care about your comfort, your well-being, or your peace of mind. To them, boundaries are nothing more than obstacles, barriers that get in the way of their control. And the moment you try to enforce them, they will test you. They will push. They will guilt trip. They will act like you're being unreasonable, like you're the one causing problems, like you're the selfish one for finally standing up for yourself. And this is exactly why you need boundaries more than ever. Because without them, a narcissist will take everything from you. Your time, your energy, your confidence, your sense of self. They will drain you until there is nothing left. And the worst part, they will make you feel like it's your fault, like you should have given more, like you were never enough no matter how much you try. That's the trap. That's how they keep you stuck. But here's the truth: narcissists only have as much power as you allow them to have. The moment you draw a line and refuse to let them cross it, the moment you stop explaining yourself, stop defending yourself, stop giving them endless chances, that's the moment you take back control. Because a narcissist cannot manipulate someone who refuses to play their game. The problem is, most people are afraid to set boundaries. They worry about how the narcissist will react. They fear the anger, the silent treatment, the retaliation. And that fear keeps them trapped. But you have to understand, if someone disrespects your boundaries, if someone gets angry at you for protecting your peace, that's proof that you need those boundaries in the first place. People who truly care about you will respect your limits. People who love you will honor your space. But a narcissist will test you every single time. At first, they'll act like they don't understand. They'll pretend to be confused, like they don't know what they did wrong. Then, when that doesn't work, they'll play the victim. They'll tell you that you're hurting them, that you're being unfair, that they don't deserve to be treated this way. And if you still don't give in, that's when the real manipulation starts. The gaslighting, the guilt tripping, the subtle little comments that make you question whether you're being too harsh, whether you're overreacting, whether maybe, just maybe, they're right. And you should loosen your boundaries just a little. But the moment you do that, the moment you let them slide even once, they know they've won. Because now they've seen that you're not really serious. They know that with enough pressure, with enough manipulation, with enough guilt, they can break you down. And once they know that, they will keep pushing, they will keep taking, they will keep testing you to see just how much they can get away with. That's why boundaries are not just important, they're non-negotiable. They are the line between protecting yourself and being controlled. And enforcing them isn't about being mean, it's not about being cruel, it's about showing yourself the respect that the narcissist refuses to give you. And here's the thing, when you finally start setting boundaries, when you stop tolerating disrespect, when you stop giving narcissists free access to your mind, your emotions, your life, something amazing happens. You start realizing how much peace you were missing. You start feeling lighter, stronger, more in control. You start seeing just how much energy you wasted trying to keep someone else happy at the expense of your own happiness. But you have to be strong. You have to be willing to walk away if necessary. Because a narcissist will never respect boundaries that you don't enforce. They will always push to see if you'll bend. And the only way to deal with them is to be unwavering, to stand your ground, to refuse to engage in their mind games, their manipulation, their guilt trips. It won't be easy. It won't feel comfortable. But nothing changes until you make a change. Nothing gets better until you decide that your peace, your happiness, your well-being matter more than keeping a toxic person in your life. So set the boundary, stick to it. Stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying why you need space, why you need time, why you're not willing to tolerate their behavior anymore. Let them react however they want to react. Let them throw their tantrums. Let them play the victim. Let them say whatever they need to say. Because at the end of the day, their reaction is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is protecting your peace. And once you do that, once you truly commit to it, you'll never allow yourself to be controlled again. Narcissists thrive on reaction. That's their fuel. That's their power. Every time you get upset, every time you explain yourself, every time you try to defend who you are, you're giving them exactly what they want, your energy, your focus, your emotional investment. And as long as they can get that from you, they know they still have control. They don't care if the reaction is positive or negative. They don't care if you're happy with them or furious. As long as you're engaged, as long as they can pull you into their drama, they win. And this is where people get trapped. You think that if you just explain yourself better, they'll finally understand. You think that if you just defend yourself one more time, they'll finally stop twisting your words. But they won't. Because they were never listening to understand, they were listening to manipulate. That's why silence is your greatest weapon. Not arguing, not trying to prove a point, not making them see what they refuse to see, just silence. No response, no reaction, no fuel for their fire. That's what truly starves them. That's what truly makes them lose their power. Because without your energy, without your emotional engagement, they have nothing to feed off of. But here's the thing, narcissists hate losing control. The moment you stop reacting, the moment you start pulling away, they will do everything in their power to drag you back in. They will poke at you, push your buttons, throw insults, bring up your past, twist your words, anything to get a rise out of you. And the second you take the bait, they win. Because now they've got you right where they want you, defending, explaining, proving yourself. And that's exactly what they want. Because as long as you're reacting, they can twist the situation to make you look like the crazy one. They can turn it around and act like you're the problem, like you're the one who's overreacting, like they're the victim and you're the aggressor. That's the game. That's how they manipulate. That's how they keep control. But when you stop engaging, when you refuse to play along, that's when everything shifts. Suddenly, they don't have the control they thought they had. Suddenly, their words don't have the power they used to. Suddenly, they're left with nothing but their own emptiness, their own toxicity, their own reflection staring back at them. And nothing terrifies a narcissist more than losing the ability to manipulate you. Now, that doesn't mean they'll just walk away quietly. Oh no, they'll escalate. They'll test you. They'll try to provoke you even more just to see if they can still break through. But that's when you have to be stronger. That's when you have to hold your ground. That's when you have to show them that their words, their actions, their manipulation no longer have power over you. And let me tell you something, when you finally do this, when you finally stop reacting, stop defending, stop justifying, something amazing happens. You start feeling lighter. You start reclaiming your energy. you start realizing how much of your peace was being drained by someone who never had your best interest at heart. And once you experience that freedom, you'll never want to go back, because at the end of the day, you can't control how a narcissist behaves. You can't make them change. You can't force them to see what they refuse to see. But you can control how you respond. You can control what you give your energy to. You can control whether or not you allow them to pull you into their chaos. So stop giving them what they want. Stop feeding their need for drama. Stop trying to explain yourself to someone who will never listen. Let your silence speak for you. Let your actions show that you're no longer available for manipulation. Because when you do that, you take back the one thing they never wanted you to have: your power. Narcissists will never take responsibility for their actions. No matter how much they hurt you, no matter how obvious their lies are, no matter how destructive their behavior is, they will always find a way to twist the story, shift the blame, and make you feel like you're the one at fault. That's their game. That's their survival strategy. Because in their world, nothing is ever their responsibility. It's always someone else's problem, someone else's mistake, someone else's fault. And if you're not careful, you will find yourself carrying the weight of their guilt, apologizing for things you didn't do, and questioning yourself when you were never the problem in the first place. This is how they keep control. Because the moment they can make you feel guilty, the moment they can make you feel responsible for their emotions, their outbursts, their actions, they know they have you. Now, instead of holding them accountable, you're the one walking on eggshells, trying to avoid setting them off, trying to fix the problems they created, trying to prove that you're the bad guy. And the more you do that, the more they win. Because every time you take the blame, they get to avoid responsibility. Every time you accept their excuses, they get to continue their behavior. Every time you let them off the hook, they learn one thing: you'll always be the one to clean up their mess. But here's the truth: you are not responsible for a narcissist's behavior. You are not responsible for their reactions. You are not responsible for their insecurities, their temper, their inability to own up to their mistakes. And the moment you stop accepting their blame, the moment you stop carrying the burden they should be carrying themselves, everything changes. They will fight it, of course. The second you stop accepting their excuses, the second you start holding them accountable, they will do everything in their power to pull you back in. They will guilt trip you. They will play the victim. They will bring up everything you've ever done wrong just to shift the focus away from themselves. And if that doesn't work, they will get angry. They will lash out. They will try to punish you for daring to hold them accountable. But that is exactly why you have to stand firm. Because the truth is, a narcissist doesn't want a partner, they want a scapegoat. They want someone they can use, someone who will absorb their negativity, someone who will take the blame so they never have to. And as long as you keep playing that role, as long as you keep letting them off the hook, they will never stop using you. But the moment you stop, the moment you refuse to take responsibility for their problems, their mistakes, their choices, that's when they lose control. Because now they don't have a way to avoid facing themselves. Now they're left with the reality of who they are, and nothing terrifies a narcissist more than having to face the truth about themselves. That's why you have to stop engaging in their blame game. Stop explaining yourself. Stop defending yourself. Stop justifying your feelings, your boundaries, your choices. Because the second you do that, you're giving them an opening. You're giving them another opportunity to twist things, to manipulate the story, to turn it around on you. You don't owe them explanations. You don't owe them justifications. You don't owe them endless chances. What you owe is to yourself. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself freedom. You owe yourself the right to walk away from anyone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions. So let them blame you. Let them throw their tantrums. Let them rewrite the story in their own mind to make themselves the victim. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you know the truth. And when you stop playing their game, when you stop feeding into their need to shift blame, you take back something they never wanted you to have: your power. That walking away from a narcissist is one of the hardest things you will ever do. Not because you need them, not because you can't live without them, but because they have conditioned you to doubt yourself. They have spent so much time making you question your own reality, your own worth, your own strength, that when it's finally time to walk away, you hesitate. You wonder if you're making the right decision. You wonder if maybe, just maybe, they can change. You wonder if you're being too harsh, if you're overreacting, if leaving is really necessary. But deep down, you already know the truth. You already know that staying will only cost you more of yourself. A narcissist doesn't just control you through manipulation, they control you through fear. Fear of what happens if you leave. Fear of how they'll react. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear that maybe you're the problem. That's what keeps people stuck. That's what keeps them going back time and time again, even when they know they should walk away. And the narcissists, they know this. They count on it. They know that if they break you down enough, if they make you doubt yourself enough, you'll stay. You'll keep giving them more chances. You'll keep holding on to the fantasy of who they could be instead of accepting who they actually are. But at some point, you have to make a choice. You have to decide that your peace matters more than their approval, that your happiness matters more than their validation, that your future is worth more than the cycle of pain they keep dragging you through. And when that moment comes, when you finally decide to walk away, you have to do it completely. No explanations, no drawn-out conversations, no giving them a chance to manipulate you one last time. Because if you give them an inch, they will take everything. They will try to pull you back in. They will suddenly say all the right things, make all the right promises, act like they've changed overnight. But it's not real. It's never real. It's just another trick to keep you from leaving. Because a narcissist doesn't miss you, they miss the control they had over you. They miss the supply you gave them. They miss knowing they could say one thing and make you doubt everything. And that's why when you walk away, you have to stay away. No checking up on them. No seeing if they're okay. No falling for the guilt, the fake apologies, the false promises. Because if they really wanted to change, they would have done it already. If they really cared, they wouldn't have hurt you in the first place. You don't need another conversation. You don't need closure. You don't need them to understand how badly they damaged you. Because the truth is, they already know. They just don't care. And that is why you have to move forward without them. At first, it's going to feel strange. It's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to have moments where you second-guess yourself, moments where you feel the urge to reach out, moments where you wonder if you did the right thing. But every time the doubt creeps in, remind yourself of all the times they made you feel small, all the times they manipulated you, all the times they made you question your own worth. Because that is what you are walking away from. And the longer you stay away, the more clearly you will see just how toxic they were. And then one day something incredible happens. You wake up and for the first time in a long time, you feel light. You feel free. You feel like yourself again. You start remembering what it's like to live without fear, without walking on eggshells, without constantly trying to prove your worth to someone who never deserved you in the first place. That's when you realize that leaving wasn't just about escaping them, it was about reclaiming yourself. And when that moment comes, when you finally see yourself clearly again, you'll know that walking away was the best decision you ever made. Because you were never meant to spend your life trapped in someone else's cycle of pain. You were meant to be free.